Alright, so we very clearly have some things that we need to discuss from last night's releasing of the Doctor Strange 2 trailer at the Super Bowl. And this trailer was jam-packed with new information about the movie, confirmations, characters, and different ideas and hints that will require a pretty extensive and at-length breakdown. And that is the purpose of today's video. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Cosmic Culture, the channel where we talk about all major movie and television news, theories, breakdowns, and much, much more. I am your host, Chris, and I just want to take a second to thank everybody. Last night, while we were live reacting to this trailer, we hit 50,000 subscribers on the channel. 50,000, let's do it. Oh guys, thank you so much. Now for me, that's a huge number. We've been working really hard for the last 3 years on the channel, and I'm just happy to see the community growing and the overall excitement for the news that we're dropping daily. Star Wars, DC, Marvel, Sonic the Hedgehog, Stranger Things, so many different amazing topics that we're covering, and a community that's growing stronger every day. So thank you guys. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of the Doctor Strange 2 trailer and any other hidden Easter eggs or references that I may miss in today's video. For starters, let's just go through shot for shot, sentence for sentence, moment for moment, see what we notice, break down what there is, and then we can start talking about all the questions that have been flooded onto the internet and my personal thoughts on some of those questions. So right off from the very beginning, we get a ton of interesting references and sneak peeks at what's to come in Doctor Strange 2. For starters, Doctor Strange is explaining a dream he has every night, and then when he wakes up, the nightmare begins. It seems like the idea of dreams and the dark tones that we're seeing here, from different type of multiversal monsters to the skulls on the ground outside the solo standing Sanctum Sanctorum, could be a possible reference to Nightmare, who we may also see later on in this trailer. It's not hard confirmed yet, but there certainly is room for speculation of whether or not we do see him. Now, Nightmare is an important character in Doctor Strange's comics, and he was supposed to be the original villain for Doctor Strange 2. Things have changed a lot since then. The multiverse is now heavily involved here, and a lot of moving parts are kind of taking over, so it's possible Nightmare got pushed aside, but not necessarily completely out of the frame. And something that could be causing Doctor Strange to mess with reality or with the multiverse could be influences coming from Nightmare, and that might be a huge hint that they're dropping here at the very beginning, with Doctor Strange saying he wakes up every day to a nightmare. During this little phrase coming from Doctor Strange, we get scenes from American Chavez, who seemingly might be having similar nightmares and issues, as we see her star portal behind her in this shot, and we also see Defender Strange with his ponytail whirling through the same type of portals and having definitely not the greatest of day. We see another scene of Doctor Strange working with what presumably is chaos magic, and he says, "I did what I had to do." We do see somebody standing with him there while he's using this magic. We don't know exactly who it is. It almost seems like it could be Loki, but I think that's far-fetched and definitely just more speculation than actual reality. Although they do have the black hair, a possible gold helmet, and the green tunic on, I just feel like it's worth throwing out there, but not necessarily likely. We see him working with the chaos magic, and then, as we've seen before, he closes it all down. Wong then lectures Doctor Strange, and we know from Spider-Man No Way Home that Wong is actually the Sorcerer Supreme because Doctor Strange was snapped away for 5 years in the blip, and during that time, Wong fell into the position of Sorcerer Supreme. He says to him that you can't just do whatever you want to save reality, essentially, and that his manipulating of reality or time has opened the doorway to a universe, and we don't know what or who has come through it. Keep in mind, as we're hearing Wong say this, we still don't necessarily know who the big bad is, and although this trailer revealed a lot of different leaks that we have been talking about to be true, and we're going to talk about what specifically those are when we get to them, but we don't know who the big bad is in this movie, or if there's several different big bads, or if it actually is Doctor Strange himself, whether through himself or a different variant of Doctor Strange, of which we know there will be several in this movie. We then jump from Wong to the next main character we already had confirmed, Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, who is going to have a gigantic role in this film. Doctor Strange approaches her at her orchard, which we've heard a leak isn't even real and is actually an entire illusion created by her and says, "What do you know about the multiverse?" We get new dialogue from Wanda in this trailer where she says Viz had his ideas, referring to Vision. Now, that's kind of interesting that Vision, the super genius brain of the world, knew about the existence of the multiverse, and I'm curious to see how much Wanda actually learned from him, or if she's been in contact at all with White Vision, who flew off during WandaVision and we haven't seen since. She goes on to explain that Vision thought that the multiverse was dangerous, and Doctor Strange responds saying he was right and that it is dangerous, which Doctor Strange is starting to learn from what happened in Spider-Man No Way Home, plus all the events that have happened potentially off-screen with Doctor Strange that will come to light during Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. We get a first look at a new character to the MCU who is actually a Minotaur called Rintrash. Now, Rintrash has never been in the MCU, but has been around in the comics since 1986. Rintrash is originally from a planet called Raval, which is what we might be seeing here in this scene. This kind of Shang-Chi looking location might be a completely different planet that they've explored through the multiverse to get to. Now, in the comics, he was initially trained as a weaver of fabrics and cloths, but later on, he does become an apprentice of Doctor Strange, and that might be what we see here, that the character might follow them back to the main MCU timeline, and we will be getting a new sorcerer who will have a good and important relevance moving forward into the MCU, which might be the entire purpose of his inclusion not only in the trailer, but now in the MCU. We then get a fair amount of replayed footage, stuff that we've seen from other TV spots or from the original trailer that came out, up until we see a different variant of Mordo who's apologizing to Strange, saying your desecration of reality has left me no choice. And then we get to the good stuff. Doctor Strange is put into some super intense handcuffs and is then escorted somewhere very, very important. The exact location is unknown still to us. However, the location is the Illuminati. He has been brought to the Council, the Illuminati. At least that's what they're called in the comics. We don't have an official name for them. It didn't come out during this trailer, but we have been talking for months now about the importance of the Illuminati in Multiverse of Madness and how they're going to be retconned in the MCU as protectors of the multiverse. We see Doctor Strange being escorted by the Iron Legion, and here's a whole nother plot leak that we were talking about, which is given even further evidence from this trailer. The Iron Legion belongs to a multiverse where Iron Man, Tony Stark, created a world where the Iron Legion protects it. He successfully got an armor-clad shield around the planet Earth, something we heard our Iron Man talk about frequently, but he was never really capable of accomplishing it, thus leading to him sacrificing himself in Endgame. In this same world, this same multiverse, we have Iron Legion running the protection of the world and Steve Rogers, Captain America, as president. Now, the rumors say that it's possible we will be seeing John Krasinski as Captain America, and that we will be seeing Tom Cruise play Iron Man. Now, neither of those reports have been proven true by this trailer, but the Iron Legion escorting Doctor Strange to the Illuminati because he's in trouble for manipulating the multiverse and reality is definitely a very good push forward and evidence that we actually might end up seeing that. Not to mention that this exact scene was leaked earlier in concept art, and it leads to the next big, insane, and probably craziest moment of the trailer overall, which is Doctor Strange stepping in front of this council, who we'll call the Illuminati for now, and we hear the voice of a mysterious man that says we should tell him the truth.
We should tell him the truth.
Now, this voice is immediately recognizable for any Super Marvel fan that has been watching Marvel for the last 20 so years, and I am 100% confirmed you could not change my mind. This is Patrick Stewart's Professor X. I can't tell you whether or not 100% he's from the Fox universe, but my assumption would be if you have brought back Patrick Stewart, you brought him back to play the Fox Professor X. We do get a glimpse at the back of his head, very clearly bald, the voice, it all matches up, and in that concept art I was just talking about the Iron Legion escorting Doctor Strange in handcuffs, they're bringing him to Professor X, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, who is now standing, or sitting rather, in front of Doctor Strange. If you go back and look in this throne room, we'll call it, you see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chairs, and probably the wheelchair of Professor X behind his right shoulder. So we know that there are going to be 6 members in this group, but it's really hard to make out who should be in these chairs / who is actually in these chairs right now. Regardless of that, we have a confirmation, a good enough confirmation for me that Professor X, Patrick Stewart's Professor X, will be in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, we know from Patrick Stewart himself that Kevin Feige actually talked to him and Hugh Jackman about returning to play their characters in the MCU, and Patrick Stewart told us that he told Kevin Feige that he was done playing the character, that he had put the role to bed after Logan, where both Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and his Professor X sadly pass away. Now, he said that he had put an end to that character and that chapter was over, but that doesn't mean we can't get a quick cameo of them, and they don't have to continue their role moving forward. And to me, if Kevin Feige wanted both Hugh Jackman and Patrick Stewart and got Patrick Stewart, as seen here, I'm going to go ahead and assume he's also gotten Hugh Jackman. Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman were extremely close during all of those X-Men films, and if one was coming back, I feel like that would convince the other two as well. This is 100% a legacy moment for the MCU. This is like in No Way Home, seeing characters who were done and dusted and part of our childhood come back and replay important roles, even if just for a moment. This is something that will forever be a remembered moment in the MCU and definitely sets the foundation of Phase 4, 5, and 6 off to a very, very awesome start. This also opens the doorway, of course, to the Fox universe, Deadpool, and many other characters who could now find themselves done and sitting in the MCU moving forward if that's necessary. I don't personally believe Patrick Stewart's character or Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will be transitioning over to the sacred MCU timeline, but I do love that they actually gave up this little sacrifice of having put the characters to bed to at least make these cameos and important roles in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. How exactly this is going to transition into the MCU X-Men, I'm still very curious, and I'm sure we will hopefully be getting those answers when the movie comes out. Moving on from there, we see Doctor Strange and American Chavez falling through a few different dimensions, some that included dinosaurs and some that included them turning into puzzle pieces, and I'm excited to see the importance of American Chavez as they're going to need her to navigate the multiverse. Wanda's knowledge, her power, and her chaos magic isn't going to be enough to take on this task, and that's where American Chavez really comes in, and I think her star is going to shine. See what I did there? Funny joke about a star. And anyway, we move on to Doctor Strange meeting himself, the kind of creepy, scary version who we haven't gotten exact confirmation as to who he is, but he says his same line, "Things just got out of hand," in a super creepy, skin-crawling kind of way. Now, one of the biggest mysteries from the trailer comes as we see a very bright, shiny figure smash through a wall, seemingly fighting Wanda, as you can see her chaos magic around, and then in the next scene you can see her and this character also kind of colliding in super force. There are a ton of questions as to who this character is, and I don't have an exact confirmation for you, but I do believe it is not a Human Torch character. I do not believe it's an Iron Man character. We have looked, analyzed, and photo edited this picture every way possible, and it just doesn't fit the description. This doesn't look like real flames, especially not good enough for the Human Torch, and there's no sign of Iron Man armor anywhere here at all. But it does seem like a Marvel. Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, Miss Marvel, which one I don't know. But if you compare this image to Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, for example, look at the blue hands, look at the glowing eyes. The helmet could be there or not, it's really hard to tell. And then of course you have just the surge of power which comes off of this yellow flares around her. Definitely has the characteristics of the power that a Marvel will have, and we have the Marvels movie, which is like a Captain Marvel 2, coming out, which will supposedly feature Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and whoever else they see fit to add. During my live show, a lot of you guys wanted to believe that this was Nova, and yes, there's a possibility for that, I just don't see it to be reasonable. I think if I had to put a definite answer, I would say this is going to be Monica Rambeau. It makes the most sense. She was heavily involved with Wanda, and we get a little look at Westview again a little later on in the trailer, and the two of them could be fighting and clashing, Not that I know if Monica really understands what's going on here, and would it fit perfectly? No. But it's also possible that it's just another variant of Captain Marvel who sits on the Illuminati Council, being a very, very, very strong individual and capable of being on a council of that stature. I think it's unlikely that they're going to have the original cast: Namor, Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, Professor X, Doctor Strange, and Tony Stark all there. They'll probably mix it up a little bit. We'll get some female roles in there as well, like a Captain Marvel from a different universe. It would fit very, very well, and it's possible our Captain Marvel could have been involved in this as well. Not necessarily likely, but definitely possible. So I would expect to see some of those thrones to be held by other characters than what we originally get in the original Illuminati from the comics. And they have changed the Illuminati a lot for the purposes of this film, so there's really nothing wrong with that, and it makes a lot more sense than trying to introduce a ton of new characters that have never been in the MCU before, like Namor, or a completely different role with Black Bolt and X-Men, and already so much going on, so why not add a variant of an already familiar face? We then get a few similar scenes that we've seen in previous trailers and TV spots, up until the point where we see what I'm going to go ahead and say is a statue of Defender Strange, who is not featured in this trailer, but did show up in the TV spot very, very well. We got a very good look at Defender Strange. This is the image we saw in the TV spot. And this seems to be his world, where Defender Strange is kind of open as a character that exists, and he has a big statue in front of the Sanctum. And everybody knows that he is big, powerful, helpful, nice guy that people really like. Now, this is possibly Doctor Strange going to confirm with him or to talk with him about everything happening in the multiverse, ask for his help. There isn't much known about Defender Strange except for his toy, and now the new image we have of him that came out during the TV spot for the Super Bowl. We then get some more Wanda stuff, and oh, Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, a very important character in this movie. She has such an important role to play, and I'm curious to see how exactly they decide to execute that role. We get a look here at what appears to be Westview, the Scarlet Witch sitting there in tears, and then the Scarlet Witch coming to comfort her. Whether this is some type of premonition, a vision, or something that happened during the events of WandaVision that we didn't see, maybe a time when the Scarlet Witch was in agony and she came and visited herself from the future using her magic with the Darkhold. We don't know. We're not going to get an answer for it until the movie comes out probably, but it definitely looks extremely interesting. She talks to Doctor Strange, and what she says isn't quite as important as how she says it and how she looks when she says it. All I see here is a Scarlet Witch who is cracking. At the very beginning, when Doctor Strange approaches her and asks for help, she's very humble and she expected his arrival, and he wasn't there to yell at her or to cause any problems for Westview. He had questions and wanted help, and she seemed calm and collected and like she had control of everything. Well, later on, it seems like that might go away and her composure will go out the window and her powers will start to be revealed. Now, there is a plot leak that I personally believe to be very accurate, and if you don't want to hear it, you can click away or just skip ahead a minute. I'll be done talking about it by then. That the Scarlet Witch is actually going to turn, and she's going to turn on this Illuminati group. She will be actually defeating the Illuminati group personally, who are in charge of protecting the multiverse and have brought both her and Doctor Strange into this custody in order to yell at them and explain everything that's going on and all the problems they're causing. That might be the figure who we see fighting. This Captain Marvel figure could be a member of the Illuminati during the time where she snaps and starts just defeating all of the Illuminati characters. Now, what it means to be defeated, whether they die or she completely just wipes them out of existence, I don't know. But there definitely is a very believable plot leak out there that that's what's going to happen, and that from there forward, she's going to be a bit of a villain character in the MCU. I don't think she's going to die, and I don't think she will be a permanent villain, but she's going to be a formidable foe and has a ton of power. There are a few more fighting sequences. We see Gigantos again, and we also see who might be that Captain Marvel figure flying through the air from an explosion. We see Mordo fighting with Doctor Strange, who is in handcuffs, so it's very possible Mordo is also a member of this super secret council, the Illuminati, protecting the multiverse from whatever dimension and universe he's in. He could be the Sorcerer Supreme, and he could have made it all the way up to the top of this multiversal protecting group. We then get the final shot, which is definitely dark, ominous, and full of questions. We see Dementor-like ghost demons flying around an unidentified Doctor Strange, and then we see again this same Doctor Strange, presumably, looking pretty insane, pretty scary, and having harnessed the energy of these dark shadows. There are a few guesses as to who this could be. A lot of you guys during my live stream wanted to say it was Null. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's not the case. I definitely think it is probably a Doctor Strange. Words on Twitter and other places have said it's a Strange called Sinister Strange. I'm unfamiliar with this and don't know if I believe it, but it's very possible that it's just a terribly evil Doctor Strange. And the one that we've been seeing that says things just got out of hand isn't even the bad Strange, but this is. The other possibility is that this is Nightmare, and that he's taken the form of Doctor Strange in order to be even scarier or to cause problems for Doctor Strange. And what we're seeing happening around him is his terrible evil magic and his ability to form these nightmare-esque illusions, and that really is a scary sight. I think for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness to have these very dark and scary tones fits the nightmare probability very, very well. What exactly it is Nightmare's trying to accomplish, where he's going to come from, how they're going to explain all that story, I don't have the answers for that for you, and I've heard very little about his character other than the fact that he was going to originally be the villain for Doctor Strange 2. Since we've kind of moved into the Multiverse of Madness, bigger scale, crazier events, cameos, and multiverses opening, excluding, and introducing other characters, I don't know what the plan was after that. And I'll be honest, but I do feel like if this had to be a guess as to who this is, it's either a Sinister Strange, a Dark Strange, the big bad of the movie, some variant of Doctor Strange, or it's Nightmare in the form of Doctor Strange, really giving us the heebie-jeebies. Now, that was an insane trailer, and the end is with a cool new title screen. I really like the colors, the look of it, and the mystery all behind it. This trailer looked beautiful. From personal cinematography, Sam Raimi has completely crushed it. Overall storyline, I'm a little confused where they're going with a lot of these different cameos and leaks and rumors potentially now coming true, and we don't know what the big bad is or who's trying to destroy everything and cause all of the problems. And although Wanda's definitely going to have a rage gone evil moment, I still don't believe she's the big bad behind everything. There could be a connection to her in the Darkhold, whether it's Cthulhu, Nightmare, or a completely different demon of some sorts, and the multiverse is calling to her in order to let him free. We're really just gonna have to wait for more information. But there is an opportunity for so much in this film, and at this point, go big or go home. Throw in as many cameos as you want, because by the time this film is over, I think we'll have a grasp or an idea of how the multiverse works. It could get closed down and controlled and won't be running so wild. It won't be a multiverse of madness, but it'll be a multiverse of understanding. So while the opportunity is there, open the doors, let in as many cameos as you possibly can imagine, let's have fun with it, and hopefully Sam Raimi and his cast and crew are able to make a really awesome story. I'm so excited for Doctor Strange. Personally, I think it is going to be an even bigger film than No Way Home. Maybe not necessarily in the box office, but as far as reveals and understanding the future of the MCU, we're about to get a ton of answers. Let me know what you guys thought about this trailer in the comment section down below. What else did I miss? There was so much in this trailer, and I'm sure more will be revealed as the days go by. Hopefully this explanation and breakdown helped you out a little bit. If it did, do me a favor and hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel as we continue to grow as a community. Thank you guys so much for watching till the very end of the video, and I'll see you in the next one right here on Cosmic Culture.